This video is going to be approached from a somewhat different angle, at least compared to what I usually try to get accomplished, where I'm showing you film and just explaining what happens. I'm going to kind of reverse that. And that's why this video took a long time for me to produce and kind of organize my thoughts. I would guess up front that there might be some level of speculation here, and that's fine. Feel free to let me know as we proceed. If you watch the whole thing, I haven't been to one practice. I didn't go to the stadium practice as I initially wanted to, so there is certainly going to be a level of speculation here, but I'm going to use film to try to do so. I think I do have some level of knowledge of what has worked for the Ravens in the past offensively with Lamar and some of the current personnel. And I think I know with the holdover guys, Mark Andrews, Rashad Bateman, Devin Duvernay, I think I know what they're good at based on what they've done before. And that's what I'm trying to do with this video is show you film of how these guys can be utilized and be maybe a little more specific than other people have. Certainly, though, there's going to be people who have been to practice and seen certain things that may line up or not line up with what I am proposing. This is going to be my prediction or suggestion about using the Ravens personnel in two specific formations and suggest an offensive structure that's balanced with some, quote, spread concepts. Now, before we start, I don't just refer to spread offense as spreading the field by horizontal alignment. Spreading the football around is also a part of a spread offense. A true spread offense spreads the ball around among multiple guys. Number one. Number two, a true spread offense also uses compressed formations. And that's where we're going to start here, is a formation that is both spread on one side of the field, with the two receivers being spread out to the left, and then compressed on the other side, whether you have two tight ends there, a tight end and a fullback, or in some cases a tight end and a receiver. So this is going to be an RPO against the Chiefs. The formation is, some of you will recognize, twin wing, with the twins to the offense's left. The Ravens under Greg Roman used twin wing with B-gun and pistol. This specific iteration is B-gun. I would offer to you that our X-receivers, Bateman, OBJ, maybe Aguilar sometimes, is guys going to be all the way to the out wide left. The slot guys, Duvernay, Flowers, Aguilar, I have labeled as such. I didn't have enough room to fit Duvernay's name in there, but certainly there'll be times where we have a tight end lined up in the slot, Isaiah Likely or Charlie Kolar or Mark Andrews. And the Ravens definitely should be running more RPOs. They did run RPOs enough for all of us to realize Lamar's very good at it. He's very good at reading them. He's very good at seeing the leverage of the defender. In this case, it's the inside linebacker who's got his eyes in the backfield, like most inside linebackers do, and he's looking for the run play while you have a DN stunting inside the B gap to get inside of the left tackle. Again, this film's from 2021, so somewhat outdated in terms of personnel. Lamar recognizes, oh, this is a keep, and throw it. Throw the slant, hit Marquise Brown, boom. And look, at this point, every quarterback from high school on up can execute RPO concepts. There's a ton of variations out there, all right? Which is what makes it fun for me to try, and I'm sure a lot of you, to try to comprehend what the QB is reading. Just getting back to the formation and how you can, because I'm going to merge this together a little bit later, talking about bunch. You can see up top, pre-snap right now, we've got a bunch look with Ricard, Andrews, and Duve up there. These two formations that I'm talking about, twin wing and bunch, can be used interchangeably because it's very easy to motion the outside receiver across, and now you've essentially created a twin wing formation. You've essentially created a 2x2 formation that is compressed on one side. Sorry for that. I'm going to get to the right spot. That is compressed on one side. I'll try to pause it at the correct time. As the ball is snapped, he's not wide enough yet, but you've got two receivers who can threaten this side of the field. And then over to the other side, you've got a compression that's a side of the formation that's not spread. It's a compressed, condensed formation on one side and a spread formation on the other. Hopefully I said that in a way that makes sense. Same thing here. It was bunch to the right, motioned Marquise Brown across. Duve, Zay Flowers, OBJ, whoever could be used. I paused it in about the same place. You've got two receivers to the left, and then two compressed guys to the right. Now, it's a little bit switched in terms of normally for twin wing, the inside guy, in this case Ricard, would have his feet on the line of scrimmage, and the outside guy would be off. That would be your wing alignment. Technically, this is called slot. Same exact play, and it allows you to have Mark Andrews run his patented route. which is an over concept across the field, over top of the linebacker level. From a personnel standpoint, what I'm describing to you is Bateman, OBJ, Zay Flowers, Duve, Aguilar in the slot to the left, your athletes, your receivers. And then over to the right, any combination of tight ends. Andrews, Kolar, likely, Ricard once he comes back. To the wing side, the tight end wing side. Spreads the defense out, and you're typically going to get a 3-over-2 with this level of talent that the Ravens have. 3-over-2 means you got 2 receivers here, and you're normally going to get 3 guys to that side of the field to try to defend it. In this case, the Chiefs are in their base personnel at that time. They got 3 inside linebackers on the field, so they've widened out the will linebacker. So conceptually, they are 3-over-2. Gives the Ravens opportunities to throw, quick game stuff out here and kind of put this guy in conflict with the run-pass option. Again, twin wing is my first suggestion, or hope, I guess I should say. Maybe my opinion is not educated. I do certainly spend a lot of time watching Ravens film. I think I know the things that the Ravens personnel is really good at. That's why I've labeled these guys, it's mislabeled, I guess. In this case, obviously, it is Duve, but Zay Flowers in motion is certainly going to scare the heck out of defenses if you look at the speed that he brings and the deep threat ability. And then again, keeping Mark Andrews to the right, which is his patented, location, allows him to run, any of the routes that he's shown to be really good at, originating from the right-hand side of the field and then crossing over to the left to kind of fit in with the read. He'd be a late part of the read here. He is open, though, obviously. So a spread formation to one side and then compressed to the other, I think gives you the ability to run to one side, throw to the opposite side. Here's another iteration of it from 2021. Again, the Ravens probably going to get 3-over-2. This is a long pass to Marquise Brown up the right side. I think we hit him twice in this game against the Lions, to be honest with you. Normally, you're going to get that twins to the field. Another iteration of it from that Chiefs game again. You've got 2 tight ends down to the bottom. In this case, it's actually Ricard playing tight end, and then a tight end and a receiver up to the top side. So again, I'm looking at formations and plays that the Ravens have used before, trying to create a numbers advantage. Don't have a real clean look at a 3-over-2 here, but you do have a safety, Tyrann Mathieu, corner here, and then inside backer here, who's widened up, Will backer. It gives you the opportunity also, and Todd Monken has done this a lot, to get the running back out into the route. Try to restart this a couple of times. Tyson Williams getting out there and allows you to possibly get the ball to Andrews late. I think the conflict that you create here is for this guy. By widening immediately the running back up, which I saw in the stadium practice a lot, I think 3 times, saw running backs released directly out, which is somewhat new for the Ravens offense this year. It creates a lot of conflict for this guy. If they're not going to play the corner in the flat, if they're not going to play some kind of version of cover 2, then this guy immediately going out is going to force that guy to widen, and it leaves opportunity for Andrews to sit down in the open area like he does here late. But I actually really like and did like that Lamar got the ball out so quick on this play. But my point is, it uses Andrews' propensity to lining up on the right, running across the field to the left, and kind of creates conflict in multiple ways, specifically for the field side inside linebacker, or I guess it could be nickel strong safety, depending on what personnel the Ravens have got on the field. I love the quick completions to the running backs. We certainly saw it in the stadium practice. I mentioned it in a little review that I did. Big fan of getting the ball out to those guys quick. I would liken it almost to a jab, in that we're using players who maybe aren't going to threaten downfield as much. J.K., Gus, even Justice Hill, maybe Keaton Mitchell if he's on the field some. Using those guys to threaten the defense immediately. And another thing that I really like about this, and I think I kind of mentioned this earlier, is it's a 2-by-2 formation. And so you're forcing the defense to be somewhat balanced. But when the ball's on the hash, like it is here, it's another 2-by-2 formation. It's kind of almost a reverse of what I just showed you, even though it's not really twin wing. You've got stacked twins, that's the compressed side. This could be the the spread side, except obviously the number one receiver, Demarcus Robinson, is not spread out wide. He's got a very tight split. And you can use 11 personnel with this 2x2 stuff as well. It's not flex, meaning it's not 2x2 spread out wide, everybody. I love the hide play, and that's what I would call this, Z hide. It gets someone, in this case the Z, out into the flats. Additionally, again, you can have Andrews on the same exact type of concept. The boot by Lamar, there will be people who will say multiple things about it. Well, Lamar doesn't have good play fakes. Well, the pistol doesn't give you an opportunity for a great play fake, if you ask me. Number one. Number two, the DNs to the field need a legitimate run threat to the opposite side for them to start chasing the running back from the top side, from the back side. We never did that. In my opinion, we as an offense in the last couple of years, we went for quick fixes too often, meaning we didn't run the ball enough on the same look to then create enough conflict to boot Lamar out and give him some opportunity to actually get on the perimeter with no D end, to chase him. So then what was our answer? Since we didn't actually provide a real run threat to the opposite side, because Greg Roman hardly ever ran to a side where there's only one receiver, we had to utilize a fullback to deal with this defensive end. Watch what Ricard does, he does a good job of it. Watch what he's tasked to do to deal with that D end. Because our coaching staff knew that D end wasn't going to run down the line to chase the running back going away, even though it was J.K. Dobbins. He's going to go upfield against Lamar. So we had to allocate a fullback to deal with him. The hide concept, if you ask me, can really take advantage of the flats. These quarters, split field coverage teams, we can occupy the safeties and or a corner with vertical routes and run somebody across the field, in this case Duve, into that open area, into the flat where you see us attack. This is Lamar booting to his left. Oftentimes you want to boot to the right with a right-handed quarterback, but Lamar does a nice job of getting his hips. If you ever played shortstop, getting his hips and everything lined up to first base to throw it over there. If you're moving to your left, it's a difficult thing to do. This is a very short throw, obviously. I'd like to see the Ravens run this concept, the hide concept. By the way, that was the first play of the game in 2022 last year. First play of the season, against the Jets. It was Rashad Bateman on a Z-hide concept. 4 or 5 yard gain. I'd love to see us do this more, and in order to make it work, we've got to actually provide some legitimate run threat over here. In the past, we were too reliant on obviously running at Patrick Ricard or behind Patrick Ricard. So there's more to say about that in terms of Greg Roman, but we've all said it, and so we've moved on as a staff. All right, so run plays, an example of what I'm talking about right here. Running the ball to one side with a boot threat off of it to the opposite side. Now we're still running behind the side where we have the most receivers, which was a Greg Roman thing. Run behind the side where you have most guys lined up or where Patrick Ricard is. In this case, it's a stretch with the O-line, outside zone, and then Ricard is coming back, and he's going to be kicking out the backside D tackle. Basically, he's cutting him, I should say. Right here, ends up being a linebacker who's lined up there to show blitz, and we would normally leave the end man on the line of scrimmage. We would block him. Instead of leaving him unblocked, like most teams do on outside zone, we would just call it on the backside. We got to run the ball with this one-back stuff without Patrick Ricard on the field, and it looks like we will not have him on the field, at least for the beginning of the year. One concrete thing I'm looking for Todd Monken is balance, but there's multiple layers or levels of balance. So there's run-pass balance from various formations. So when we're in the bunch formation, which is these two here, what's our run-pass ratio? What's our run-pass ratio depending on who's on the field? This is a really kind of unique one. We had Duve at tailback, and we toss it to him, and Duve's just so great out by the sideline. I would want to see him get the ball out near the sideline. He just always seems to be able to find another 5 or 6 yards beyond what it looks like he's going to get. Maybe the all-22 angle doesn't give you the best idea or notion about how many yards he's going to get, but he always seems to get an extra 3, 4, 5 yards to me. Additionally, besides formation balance, there's a more advanced balance. besides formational balance with run pass ratio, is we've got to run the ball to the side where there's only one receiver. A lot of teams do stuff where they fake the run action and then boot the quarterback back towards the bunch. We can't do that. We didn't do that in the past, I should say, because we didn't actually have a run threat to the side where there's only one receiver. We didn't run, that version of outside zone where you, or stretch, or inside zone, either one, where you kind of deal with the backside guys and just kind of cut them off or scoop them with the bunch guys. We never did that. So we were very right-handed. When I say right-handed, sometimes it can actually mean left-handed, meaning we're one-sided. Our formations weren't ambidextrous. They didn't offer balance in terms of directional threat with the run and the pass. We were very predictable, not just in the run pass, but we were very predictable in which side of the field we were going to do those things on. I hope that makes sense. It didn't happen. We've got to move toward that. So there's more levels to balance than just run pass in terms of percent. There's run, right and left, balance there. And then there's also, first and 10 and second and 3 run and pass. I suspect that Todd Monken's going to be a guy who will look to throw deep on second and 3 because he knows that we can get the first down on third and 3. I think he'll be a guy who more often throws to score. Some people throw to advance the ball downfield. I think Todd Monken is going to have designed plays to throw to score. He did it at Georgia. I think he's going to do it with Lamar and the weapons we have, particularly Zay Flowers and Rashad Bateman, once we get him back on the field. I kind of mentioned this before. I don't think the balance was there because too often we were looking for a quick fix and we didn't want to invest enough time into being balanced from a formation. I really mean 2021 and 2022 from a formation standpoint. All right, so since we're talking about bunch, we've kind of moved from 2x2 formations to 3x1. Still a 3x1 formation because you got a tight end there, and then you've got bunch, 3 receivers tightly aligned to one side. Really only going to deal with bunch and then 2x2 sets that I talked about earlier. Todd Monken used bunch a lot at Georgia. Lamar and Tyler Huntley are both comfortable with bunch pass concepts. You're going to see some here. Generally, we've been attacking front side, meaning to the 3 receiver side. So it's like our run ratio is to the 3 receiver side. Our pass ratio is to the 3 receiver side. We're still getting teams line up with this too high safety look. That's what teams have been doing in 2021 and 2022 to a large extent against the Ravens. We need to attack more backside with the run and the pass. I'm not showing any film of it. Rashad Bateman attacked beautifully to the backside of bunch, meaning to the single receiver side, against the Dolphins and the Browns in 2021. Additionally, this is a route that we have not thrown the football to enough, is the backside drag or underneath route by the X. It's been there. I would say we've probably thrown to it 20% of the time when it's been available. I think it's got to be something where we take the layup. And what I mean by layup is your 6 or 8 yard gain, getting the ball to your X receiver, who the next time he starts to release inside can then bring this thing back to the outside. To me, the layup is these drag under routes by some of our athletic guys, particularly Zay Flowers, Rashad Bateman. You saw him take a slant to the house against the Dolphins in 2022 at home. The bunch lends itself to motion on to the 1 receiver side. You see an example of it here. I've already shown you 2 plays, not motion with Ricard. I've already shown you 2 plays, one with Duve and then one with Marquise Brown, both in 2021, where they were catching the football off of that motion. So when we do attack back here, historically, it's through motioning. Remember the play against the Broncos I showed you with Duve? And then Marquise Brown against the Lions earlier that season, or 1 week earlier, I believe. We're creating a 2 receiver side. So everything has been reliant on attacking with the run to the side where we have more receivers or more receivers and tight ends lined up, or Pat Ricard, and basically avoiding the side where we only have 1 receiver. I think Monken is going to go out of his way to create more balance. We can't build an offense that is predicated on motion by Pat Ricard to run, and then motion by a receiver to throw the football to one side or the other. We've got to be more, I say ambidextrous. That's probably not the right word. We've just got to be more balanced. I saw the stadium practice. Thought the offense was very vanilla. I didn't see a ton of design plays. I saw Lamar do a fantastic job of getting the ball out to guys when there's blitzers. I saw him get the ball to the running backs 3 times, maybe 4. So I thought there was some real improvements there, kind of like that play I showed you earlier with Tyson Williams attacking the flats. In this game, from the film you see, just can't build an offense that's predicated on where's the most receivers, and that's where we're going to attack. I think the 2 formations look very different, maybe at first, the bunch and the twin wing, although, one of the plays I showed you earlier was twin slot. But they can be used interchangeably with motion, to be honest with you, so that it's not an indicator for where the football is going. I love this play in particular. Now granted, we do have a 6th offensive lineman on the field. We got too many athletes, too many ball players that can make things happen with the ball in their hand to do that. But we're looking for max protection. And some would say it's a 2-receiver route to the top side. It's actually not. It's a 3-receiver route. The running back is getting out into the flats. You've got a clear out route by the number 1 receiver, putting this guy in conflict, high-low in him. Basically, I would call it flood. So your low route is the running back, and your high route is Andrews. Lamar throws it over the top. There's plenty of room to do it. It's a great throw. So I'm okay with max protection sometimes. I just think that this year we've got a lot of weapons to get on the field. Is there a time for max pro? Sure. If we want to take a shot downfield, and Todd Monken surely did that at Georgia often. I saw at least 1 or 2 times a game where he went max pro and was trying to go up top, was trying to attack downfield to score. Overall point is motion can't be a clear indicator of anything. It should probably really be used to exploit a defense that isn't aligned properly. Now, I've kind of touched on it already, but I want to explain this from my perspective specifically before we get into my favorite play here at the end. So if you've stuck around this long, first of all, I appreciate it. Second of all, I'll try to make this point very specifically. Why was it that NFL defenses could line up in an unbalanced manner against the Ravens in the past? We had an imbalance ourselves in a run-pass ratio, and then our directional attack was also predictable. That's related to formations. That's why I talk about formations so much. Maybe for some of you, I talk about formations too much. Maybe you don't have a background in labeling formations quickly so that players, in my case, kids, teenagers, can quickly understand, okay, what's the formation? I remember the run-pass ratio. I remember where coach told me to play, or where we decided as a team that the play is going and what we're trying to stop. If they do something new out of that formation, tip your cap to them and let's line up and play on the next play. Everything we did was about taking away the larger percent play. If somebody's going to give me 85% indicator to what the play is going to be, that's what we're going to line up to stop. NFL teams the same way. I don't know that the Ravens had 85% probability all the time, but I'll tell you this, when Ricard went in motion, you generally saw us run behind him to his side or play action pass. And it wasn't normally a boot off of it. I think we've got to be more diverse with what we run. I know we're going to see more screens. I can't remember who it was that tweeted today, Wednesday, that the Ravens were running a pick rub period for 15 minutes. Maybe it was Jonas, I forget the guy's last name. It's not Schefter. But in any case, he covers the Ravens. He's there at practice every day. There's going to be a much more diverse offense, which is what I'm advocating for. This last play is one of the few examples that I think illustrates giving Lamar options to either side of the field, forcing people to defend the right and the left side of the field on the same play. Basically building in a run and a pass play in the same play. Going to let it run one time through. I call this a PRO. I can't remember who it was that coined the phrase PRO. Basically, the pass option was down here. We're going to rewind it in a minute so you can see it. And then the run option is up here. PRO is backwards because the pass option, I think, was the first part. And it's down here to Andrews and I think Watkins on, basically snag concept. Andrews' route isn't exactly drawn up correctly there. And then there's absolutely no chance that this ball was going to be given to Tyson Williams, in my opinion. I think the first part of this is the pass option. Down here, Lamar correctly sees guys flying out of there to defend the pass. And Duve in motion. Tyson Williams after the ball fake. And then 2 pulling linemen are all out in front. I'm actually shocked that this didn't go for more yards than it did. You'll get the end zone angle here from in a minute. PRO, I wasn't the first person to name it that. Someone in the comment section did. One of my favorite plays that I've seen the Ravens run, even though I think it only goes for like 8 or 9 yards. Normally, you would be, reading this defensive end or maybe this inside backer for the run portion of it, RPO, run pass option. So you'd be reading one of those guys to determine, okay, should I give the ball to Tyson Williams? Personally, I don't think there's any chance Lamar was given this. I think he was coached to just give a slight ball fake. So there's sometimes where people say, Lamar doesn't give good ball fakes. I believe, and I might be wrong, but I don't think so, that he was told to not give this ball. So the play fake won't look as realistic to any of us because by design, he's not actually trying to give the ball to the halfback. He's either going to pass it to the bottom side of the field, the left-hand side of the defense, pass, or based on the reactionary, he's going to keep it and then follow these blockers. The end zone angle gives you a pretty cool view, but the end zone angle also reveals something or supports something that I said earlier. That's Patrick Ricard. I didn't talk about him until now, intentionally. We've got 3 receivers lined up here. Why are we running to that? Why is the run action built into that side? Well, because Pat Ricard's over there and because we're overwhelming them with lead blockers. Look at all the guys. It almost looks like that interception return for a touchdown where Ray and Ed Reed, I think, are leading. Is it Landry? I can't remember, against the Dolphins. It almost looks like that in some way. With just have a cavalcade of blockers. We don't get as many yards as we potentially could have. Point is, even when we had built in versatility from a directional standpoint, we could attack to the left, our right as we're looking on the screen, or our left as we're looking on the screen with the run. It was still somewhat predictable because Ricard was over there. I think Todd Monken's standards are going to be extremely high. I think he's going to expect guys to block, all of them, receivers, tight ends. Is he going to expect them to block, as much as Pat Ricard was expected to do? No, but I think he's going to intentionally build in, or let me rephrase that, intentionally avoid predictable things. Look at the conflict. Again, this is one of the greatest plays that I saw the Ravens run. Look at the conflict that's created. This inside linebacker is flying out of there because, he sees Lamar's face mask looking in that direction. He sees Lamar looking over there, looking like it's a pass play. That's why I say I think it's a PRO, pass run option. Do I think Todd Monken's going to create 30 plays with that level of creativity, that level of detail and sophistication? I think it's possible. It's not all on Todd Monken. T. Martin and the other guys are involved too. I think they will create more formations and plays. That's why I put this one here. Create more formations and plays that give the offense, Lamar, option to attack to the left or to the right, depending on the read, depending on numbers, depending on how the defense lines up. That's really the main part of this video and the main thing for me that I think is going to be improved in 2023 is that we won't be as predictable, not just run pass, but directionally. Somewhat speculative. I said that in the beginning. Trying to offer you guys my thoughts on some offensive design and definitely going to be more educated opinions than my own for 2023. People that have been to practice, people that also, try to break down the film from the stadium practice and watch those people's content too, all of them. Let me know what you think of the video. This was my attempt to show you 2 formations. Twin wing was the first one, 2x2 set, and then bunch, and then merge it all together in the end, hopefully, and show you how the bunch against the Lions was quickly able to turn into a 2x2 set, and unfortunately still on some level, be predictable about where the run threat would be. I think Todd Monken's job is to change all that. And John Harbaugh and the offensive staff had to know last year that they were, predictable on some level, not just from a personnel and formation standpoint, but where the ball is going to be run. And that something had to be done about it. And I think this dude is the guy that they saw as, hey, he's going to make us more unpredictable. And if we can make things less predictable with Lamar back there at quarterback, that's just going to make it even more difficult for defenses to try to defend him and defend all the weapons that we have now. Maybe my goal or my aim in this video was too high, and maybe I wasn't able to attain it. So, feel free to let me know in the comment section what you thought of me trying to design or create two formations and offer how I think the Ravens could improve the attack, but improve the attack exponentially by being less predictable and giving Lamar more options like the pass run option play that you saw there near the end. Appreciate you guys' time. If you listen this long, I really appreciate it. And again, if you think that other Ravens fans would appreciate this content, please consider grabbing a link to it and sharing it somewhere on social media to help this video get more reach.